Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marta. I come from Norway and I love makeup, and today I'm showing you guys the Bonfire palette by Glaminatrix. It is a perfect palette for fall and I personally love these kind of colors together, so I'm very excited about it. And I was lucky enough to receive this in PR, so I'm super grateful about that. And in this video I will be doing two looks. This is one of them, and I will of course show you some swatches of the palette as well. So if you're interested in seeing that, keep watching. Here you can see the Bonfire palette close up. How stunning is this color story? You know that I absolutely love these kind of colors, so I was very happy to see this palette, and I'm going to show you a little bit closer up too. So I just turned down the lighting a little bit so that I can show you with light coming in from the side, so you can hopefully see the shifts. The first shimmer there looks like a kind of gold but quite white shimmer. Then we have this green one that shifts through a blue, and you can see that very gold shift as well. Then we have the orange one, Wildfire I think it's called, and that looks like a gold with a slightly orange base, but I've heard that it's a little bit sheerer than it might look, so I think that's actually kind of nice. And then we have the shade Blaze over here. It's a red with a fiery orange shift. And then we have the cooler tones here at the edge. So we have Cinder right here. I think it's a little bit hard to tell the color just from here, but I'm guessing that it has some purple. It seems like it does have that. And then it just looks like a bit of a cooler toned neutral, maybe a little bit silvery. And then this one looks like a brown blue with maybe a little bit of green and purple, which I love those kind of colors. Maybe I'll do a look that is just like the cool tones together. I think that would be really pretty, but I'm definitely leaning a bit more for the oranges and like the green tones first, so we will just see. But I'm gonna show you the swatches first. For the first look with the Bonfire palette, I want to match this lipstick. It is G73 from Girl Cult, and it's this black with a slight red shimmer. So I really wanted to try that out. I feel like it fits the theme Bonfire. So the plan is to be using these neutral shades on the lid. Probably all of these, and then for the lower lash line I want just a pop of red towards like the inner parts right here, and I might just layer a little bit with this one to get some of the warmth also on the lid, and maybe I'll use a tiny bit of the red also on the lid, but I'll just have to see what I feel like doing. And since my lip is this intense, I was thinking maybe not to do such a dark look, but we will see. I need to do something to balance it out a little bit. Either way, I'm starting out with the shade Smoke. It's picking up quite easily, so I'm gonna have to be careful not to spill any eyeshadow now, have any fallout, because I did already do my face makeup, which I rarely do before doing my eye makeup. But we will see. Okay, I'm already having some fallout. I need to be really careful. For some reason, I always get more fallout on this side than the other. I just think it's how I angle the brush. So you can definitely avoid it if you are careful. But I did set under my eyes just in case, so that it wouldn't stick to the eyeliner. No, the concealer. Oh my god. I'm not sure how much deeper I want this to be, so I'll just take the shade Ashes. And by the way, I'm using my Glaminatrix brushes. The previous one was EO2, and now I'm using the EO1 brush for the shade Ashes. Let's just see how dark this is. I mean, it does have a lot of color to it. If I just try to brush it a bit gently, I think that's nice. I love how it just smokes everything out, and it does have a tiny bit of green to it, or yellow. So I do like how it's looking, and you can see it with my lip. It fits really nicely, and I think it would look so cool with that red pop on the lower lash line. For the lower lash line, I'm just doing the exact same that I did for the lid, and I'm just using a little bit. I don't want it too smoky, but you know, the look I'm going for is kind of like the end of the bonfire. There's just a few embers left that are burning, and the rest is just turned to ashes and coal. That's kind of the look I'm going for. So very like dark and smoky with just a touch of orange or red. So I think that looks really nice. I have to say these shadows are applying really beautifully. And then I'm using the shade Ashes. And it will be quite dark towards the inner corner as well because of that red shade. It is a very dark shade. So I'm now ready to go in with the shade Bonfire right here. And this is a very cool toned red shade. It almost turns purple, at least I've seen that on dark skin. And I have to just be careful so I don't get too much fallout right now. But I can layer a little bit of the orange on top if I want to just heat it up a little bit with a little bit of warmth. So this is where we're at right now, and if you compare it to my sweater, you can really see how cool toned that shade Bonfire is. So I definitely want to add a little bit of that orange shade. Wow, that one picked up so much. I think I actually have to tap out a little bit of that shade. Wow, that is extremely pigmented. I just want like a touch of that shade just to warm up this red. Can you see the difference here? I feel like you really can. I just applied a little bit of the Glam Glue, as you can see, because it lifted a bit of the color, but I'm now applying Blaze with the flat brush from Glaminatrix. It's number 5. So I'm just tapping that down, trying not to spill too much. I'm probably even out of focus. I think that's looking really cool. Now for the lid, I'm going to be using the shade Smolder just in the outer corner of the eyelid. You can see it's quite cool tone, so I might just top it off with a little bit of Blaze. But then for the rest of the lid, I want to use Smolder right here. As usual, I am applying a little bit of my Glam Glue just to make sure they stick, but I have noticed with Glaminatrix formula, you actually don't need a glitter glue because they are really amazing and you won't have any issues with creasing if you use them just by themselves. I'm just picking up this shade on my finger here, and then I'm tapping it in the very outer corner. I usually do a kind of diagonal shape here, and I'm not dragging it any further in. That is very cool toned and cool, and I love the contrast of the red on the lower lash line with this cooler shades on the top. Just something like this. That's exactly what I was going for. I'm so happy with how this is looking. I'm definitely going to add something black towards the upper waterline there. I'm not sure what I'll do for the inner corner. Maybe I'll just not do anything, but I'll just finish off this makeup and show you the close-up and you will see what I've done. So that was a close-up of the look, and here you can see it a bit further away, and I personally just love how it turned out. It's very bold with the lip, but you could absolutely do a more neutral lip. For example, I think one of the Kaleidos makeup shades, Mercury Wave, I think it's called. It's like a cooler toned kind of pinkish gray shade. I think that one would be really cool with this look, but I was really wanting to use this lip shade. So again, it's G73 by Girl Cult. As for the other products that I used, I did use the Serengeti highlighter in the shade Wild Acacia from What's Up Beauty, also received in PR, and then one of my favorite blushes from Glaminatrix, but also like all-time blushes. I use this all the time. It's the shade Lavish in their lip and cheek, or cheek and lip flush formula. I think this is just so great, and it's just a little bit of warmth, even though you can't see it that much in this studio lighting that I have, but it's very, very pigmented. Here you can see my dog is trying to settle down under the duvet. Anyway, something new that I wanted to try for this video is combining the looks that I do with a fragrance. So for this look, I chose Atelier des Ors, I don't know how to pronounce that at all, Lune Feline, and this is a spicy warm scent, and it's an oriental vanilla scent. See, it has these beautiful gold flakes in the bottle, and a lot of people compare this to By the Fireplace from Maison Margiela, and it is very like smoky and spicy because it does have Peru balsam in it. It also has a lot of woodsy notes, and the main thing for me is the cardamom, and I love cardamom as long as it has some sweetness to it, and this one does have that from the vanilla, but it's not overly sweet at all. So I just felt like this fits the bonfire theme so well because it is such a smoky scent, but it's also like warm and spicy with the, I think it's pink pepper, and then also of course the cardamom. And I do see that it also has cinnamon, so it's just a warm, spicy, I find it cozy, but it's not like a safe blind buy. You have to really be into like niche fragrances to like this, I feel like, but I just felt like this was a perfect match to this look. So that was the first look. Now let's go for a little bit of a warmer look for the next one. For the second look, I want to dive more into these kind of shades. I just love the combination of this kind of teal green shade with a bright orange. So I was thinking I'd do like the teal and this green on the outer corner of the eye, and then I'll do this towards the inner parts. And I haven't decided yet which shimmers I will use, but it will be some of these, and I'll probably use this one for the inner corner. But I'm starting out with this green. I'm using the EO2 brush from Glaminatrix, and I do have only the Morphe base as my eye primer today. We'll see how it goes as usual. I was thinking if I'm able to, maybe I'll just blend this out by itself and then use the lighter green as kind of like a transition to the orange shade. I think that would be really cool because that lime green is gonna take this like the undertones of this shadow basically away, and I do like how murky, and I don't know, I just think it looks really nice by itself. And if I just use a skin toned matte here, it will also help the blending. So I think I might just do that. So I'm taking the same brush here, and I just took that lime shade and I'm just using that right here. Oh, that is so pigmented. Can you see that? And this will just be the transition between the deeper green and the orange. And I'm blending a little bit over to that deepest shade as well. So I remember that the orange shade was very pigmented. Wow, yep, it is so pigmented. But I'm just going to basically tap it down. I feel like this is almost like a neon orange. But I'm going to tap it down here, and then once I don't have too much on the brush, I'm going to blend the edges. Ooh, and I probably should have gone in, maybe I'll just do it now. I'll go in with a skin toned color here, because if not, I tend to sometimes get a bit of a darker color just right here. I don't really know why, but I'm just gonna take a precaution and do that. Okay, so we're back with the orange. I didn't add anything else on the brush because, I mean, there's still quite a bit left. So I'm just buffing it out very gently. So like this, it's gonna be very bold, as you can see, but I do love these colors. Now I'm kind of feeling like doing a red lower lash line, so I'm taking this shade and I'm applying it to the very or into the waterline here, and then I'll just help blend it out afterwards. And I think I want it to be more of this like berry red instead of an actual red. For the shimmer for this look, I know I should be using the green because I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really feeling this one. And then I think I'm going to blend it into the iridescent, or I'll just use this one. But I'm not going to use glitter glue today. So I'm just going to go in with my finger. So I'm picking up the shade Blaze here. And then I'm taking just a little bit of Wildfire. Wow, that is picking up so easily. I'm just going to apply that as sort of like a transition, and then towards the very inner corner I was thinking I'd use the iridescent green shade. And for the iridescent I'll be using a brush just because it's in the very inner corner. And also I just used my little finger with the red. These are looking very similar, the shade Wildfire and the iridescent, once I have it on top of this orange. But I'm guessing that there will be a shift on the iridescent one. So I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. I feel like I want to do something for the lower lash line today as well, but I'm not sure what. I'll have a little bit of time to think about it while I do the other eye, and if I don't do anything, then I'll just skip to the close-up of the look. Here is the finished look. You can see that I ended up adding a shimmer on the lower lash line, and it's actually the green shimmer, which surprised me so much at how beautiful it looks, like layered on top of the burgundy shade. I absolutely love that, and I think just like the red all over the lid with that green shimmer on top, I think that would look amazing. And the same with the green, the deep forest green, together with the red and orange multichrome. I think that would look so good. But you can just see the shifts right here. These shadows are so beautiful, and I love this color story, and I so badly want to do those looks that I just talked about. So I'm definitely going to be using this for fall, and honestly we're having fall weather already with rain and cooler temperatures coming in, so I'm very excited. I love fall. But that is the second look, and I feel like this really encompasses fall. And that was the second look close up. So here you can see it a bit further away, and you can see what I paired with it. I actually used the Kaleidos Makeup Cloud Lab Lip Glaze, the one in Cognac, which is the deeper one that I used around, and then I used a golden rosin for the middle, and I love that. And I did have to use a lip liner because I wanted it to be a little bit more precise around the lips. So I did use the one that's called French Kiss from Melt Cosmetics. And then for the blush, I used the Cheek and Lip Flush from Glaminatrix in the orange shade. I don't remember what it's called, but that's what I used for the other products on my face. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea of the palette right now after using it twice, and I actually used all of the shades. Yeah, well, that's nice. But yeah, this palette is so beautiful. I love it so much. I actually even really wanted to go in with this shade today because it's just so pretty. Like, imagine just this on top of the green, for example. Or as I was mentioning, you can do this one on top of this, or this one on top of this one, and you will just have some contrasting colors. Or if you want to play it a little bit more safe but still grungy, you can use Smolder on top of Bonfire, or you can just do something a little bit more neutral with Cinder and Smoke and Ashes, for example. But there's just so many things you can do here, and you can definitely easily do a monochromatic look with this palette. As you can see, you have kind of like matching mattes and shimmers all the way along the palette here, so it should be quite easy to build a look, which I really like about the layout. And I will say the shimmers positively surprised me because I thought they were maybe a little bit more boring than the ones in the Grounded palette, but having now used especially these two, I was just very like blown away at how beautiful they look. And you can't necessarily see any of the shifts right here, but you definitely could, like on my eyelid here and underneath here. So yeah, I was very happy about that. Now, I almost forgot to choose a fragrance for this look, but I felt like Leo from French Avenue, which is a very new perfume in my collection, is just perfect because this scent I mean, it's even my zodiac sign, but this scent is just so good. It's so well blended that you can't necessarily even smell the different types of notes, even though I feel like you can smell some cardamom here, and it's not even in the notes. But there is a gourmand accord here, which I think might be some of that spiciness together with the vanilla, but you also have a lot of actually citrus notes. There's both orange, lemon, and bergamot in here, and there's also a lot of woody notes in here, as well as the vanilla. I don't know, it's just so good to me. It's just a little bit of mystical and just sweet but not too sweet, fresh but not super fresh. It's like just the perfect mix of everything in my opinion. So I really love this one. The only downside is that it doesn't last that long on the skin, but I have figured that if you spray it on your clothes, it will stay almost the whole day or even 24 hours. I can still smell it a little bit on my shirt. So that is the perfume that I chose for this look. But I think that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you liked the swatches and the looks. Please comment which look was your favorite. I don't really know which one is my favorite. I think I'm leaning towards this one because it's just so me, but I really liked the more cool toned with a pop of red as well. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!